Hello everyone. This will be my long-term review of the Honda Accord V6. This is the EXL version without the navigation, and it's almost top of the end trim, but I've bought this car actually used about 2 years ago, and I have used it to drive to and back from work exclusively. And what I want to say in this review is what this car is actually for, and what this car is not great for. So let's get started. So just take a quick overview of the exterior. Now, I think this car is a kind of blue metallic color. I actually just waxed it, and now it's raining, so it's definitely not good at showing the color, but it's got a sunroof, and it's got the turn signals on the mirrors as well, and the really cool lane watch camera on the right side. Very useful, more useful than the blind spot, actually, in my opinion. And this car have a very nice LED daylight running light. It's super bright. Also a standard fog light that's halogen, I think. Also a halogen highlight and the low beams. It's a projector style, and the illumination of the road is really great on the low beam for this Accord. And I really love the chrome front end. It looks really classic. I actually don't like the newer Accord because the front end doesn't look as classy as the 2014 model. Of course, it's got the the warning thing with the camera like mounted right on top over there. Here you can see the thing. So the camera detects your lane. If you're off the lane, it'll beep, and if there's a car right in front of you and you're going at a fast speed, it's gonna warn you as well, but it's not gonna do the braking for you. So also really nice looking aluminum wheels, and this is the EXL V6 version. So I got the 6-cylinder Earthstream engine, and I think 3.2 liters. So let's go inside and take a look. It's raining. So very spacious interior, and very classy looking design. It's got I think leather trimmed seats. What it means is I think only this part is leather and the rest is actually a vinyl. So only the central part is leather, and a lot of soft touch material. This is kind of soft touch. This is more soft and soft touch. This is plastic right over there all the way to the bottom. Plastic, but this is soft touch, so it's really nice. And it's a vinyl, super easy to clean. Like if your car gets dirty, you just clean it with like a leather cleaner or any kind of regular like mild detergent. It should come off. Very nice leather wrapped steering wheel. As you can see, the leather has been nicely broken in. It's very shiny because I use this part a lot. On some of the newer area that I don't use much, you can see the leather is this is like new leather, so I haven't touched this area, but the area that you use a lot, it gets broken in really nice, and it's very comfortable, very grippy. This camera features of course, your standard cruise control. It's from 2014, and let's turn up the camera. Let's turn on the car. Again, V6 model with Earthstream. It's got dual LCD screens. So over here is mainly for control, and over there it's the basic display. Now, in my opinion, I almost prefer the non-LCD screen version because it's much easier to control all the settings. Granted, this one have a volume knob, thank God. So basically, it's very basic LCD screen. It doesn't have much of the advanced features on some of the newer cars. The great thing is AC control is individually controlled over here, and it's all analog, but also, you know, digital display and temperature control and everything, but analog buttons, which I love a lot. Dual AC on passenger side and driver side. Also, it's got the EXL version, got the vent on the back for the rear passengers as well. This area, it's imitation wood and it's plastic, which I think Accord did a great job of using this material. It doesn't look as fake or as ugly as some other manufacturers tried before, but this is definitely nice, very premium looking material on the interior. Over here you have your eco button, which in my opinion doesn't do much at all, at least on this V6 version. The only thing it does is limit your throttle and lowers your AC fan speed and temperature control. So I think that's the only thing it does. So if you have a good throttle control with your own, foot, you actually don't need the econ mode because it doesn't save much gas, if at all. Lane departure warning, you can turn it on or turn it off. I mean, usually I leave it off because otherwise it's quite annoying when you actually, step on the lane, or sometimes it have a problem detecting the lane properly, especially if you're driving against a bright lit road. Sometimes it will beep out of nowhere. This is your traction control. If you long press, the traction control is turned off, and if you long press again, it turns back on. There's a little button hidden over here. That's your tire pressure monitoring system. Every time your tire gets empty or gets low, you need to reset the TPMS by pressing this for a few seconds, and then the pressure would recalibrate. Your hood button is right over there to open the hood. Of course, down here is your regular it's kind of dark, brake and your accelerator over there. In terms of storage, it's got this little cubby on the top, have some space inside, and this area that's also kind of fairly small because it's being occupied by the USB port and one of the DC port over there. You have one extra DC port right over here. This glove box, not glove box, but this center console is kind of small. It's much smaller than the previous Accord I had, which is a 2004, but it fits some of the stuff inside. In terms of storage area, this new one, the 2014 model, definitely have much less space than the 2004 model I've had before. And they actually close this area. Like if they open this area, you should be able to put more stuff over there, but storage is very limited. This cup holder doesn't hold any big stuff, it only holds like medium to small drinks. That's one thing I'm kind of annoyed by, but it's got the 8-way, I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 8-way 9-way with lumbar support right over here. Like there's a button over here that controls the lumbar, so the seat is very adjustable. The passenger seat also got I think 4-way adjustment, forward, back, and the seat up and down. So in terms of adjustments, it's kind of limited on the passenger side. Over here, okay, I'm going to go through the menu really quick. The source, you have FM, AM, you have satellite radio, and you have CDs, which is right over here. Nobody uses it anymore, but I think it supports MP3. So if you're still like old school, you have a lot of MP3s and CDs, you can use this. This is the USB connection, and this is iPod connection. If you have a Apple device, you can use the iPod connection. And this is a Bluetooth. I find the Bluetooth kind of problematic and kind of slow to operate on this car, so I don't use it at all. And the Pandora integration, the Pandora app, since it's the older model, it's very limited as well. It doesn't do much, and if you plug your phone with the if you connect your iPhone with the car, and you open the Pandora app, you wouldn't be able to use any feature at all. You have to control it over here, which only have limited information. So that's also not good. Personally, I would say this is not a good implementation of the LCD screen. It's very limited feature, and I wish I have gotten the regular version instead of the V6 as well. And I'm gonna tell you the reason is because the gas mileage on this thing is absolutely horrible in city driving. So again, back to the topic of this car, what this car is good for. It's great for people who drives on the highway a lot, because this car gets amazing highway mileage. It gets When I drive on the highway with a speed of like 65 to 70, it gets up to 35 mpg on the highway, which is amazing. Let's see my current mileage, which is 18.5, and that's purely city driving because I commute back and forth 14 miles every day in the city. And this is what you get in the city driving with the V6 Earthstream. The Earthstream, even though it have almost 300 horsepower, it doesn't feel quick at all because this car is kind of heavy and it's a front wheel drive. For any people that thinks you're gonna get this car and you're gonna speed away, you know, at the stoplight, think again. Maybe not get this car, because what this is great for is if you're on the highway driving, you know, nicely cruising, and you want to pass some cars, you can step on the pedal and it would go quicker than any of the 4-cylinder offerings there is. But in the city, I don't see any advantage at all besides burning gas. It's like drinking gas. The mileage I get is around 17 to 19 max. So in terms of what this car is for people who drives on the highway, who likes to have the ability to overpass the cars much quicker than any of the 4-cylinders. And if you drive purely in the city, I would highly suggest you get the 4-cylinder version or the newer Accord that had a 1.5 liter turbo. I think those offerings are much better at saving gas, and also offers fantastic, well, basically it saves gas and gives you the fairly good passing power on the highway and in the city. The V6 on this, it's when I step on the pedal, there's always a delay, like 0.5 seconds delay before it kicks in the gear and then starts speeding off. Another problem is the wheel actually spins a lot if you actually just float on the pedal. So if you have a wheel drive, it shouldn't do this at all. So I think a front wheel drive V6 is not a good implementation. So guys out there, if you're thinking about a more practical car, get a V4 Accord from the same year. And if you are considering any of the newer Accord, get the 1.5 liter turbo from the 2018, the newest Accord. Some other features, of course, it's got a memory seat 1 and 2. And the trunk area, I'm going to show you guys in a little bit on the trunk area. But the rear seats also have a lot of space, can sit 3 adults. If it's smaller adults, you can probably sit 4 on the back. So again, as I mentioned, the control is very limited on this LCD screen. And over here, the big screen is also super limited. It only have 4 features, and 2 of them are kinda SAM. So you got the music display right over there, basically displays the song title, whatever. And you got your fuel mileage 1, which displays your current and the previous mileage. As you can see, previously I've drove some highway, so I got 24 mpg on average. Also not great because it's a V6. If you drive long on the highway at a cruising speed of 65 plus, you should get much better mileage. Okay, so fuel number 2, that's your first. That's your like previous records, like going back a longer time. So you have the current, trip A, first preview, second preview, third preview. It's not much useful at all, and you can see gas mileage is horrendous because I do a lot of city driving. And over here it's just clock. So very basic, limited LCD display. Not much useful at all in my opinion. The mirror, it's automatic dimming, which is kind of nice, so you don't have to do manual dimming at all. And it's got a fairly good view, and so is the mirrors. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the lane watch camera. If you do the right turn, the lane watch camera turns on, which is kind of nice. If you turn it off, it stops. But if you press the button over here, you can turn the lane watch always on, so you can always see what's going on your right side over here. But then on the left, you can just see at the mirror. I like this implementation a lot, more than the blind spot, because I think the blind spot sometimes gives false alarms when the car is actually kind of far away behind you. And this, you can see the actual thing, like where the car is. So the red line is where your car's rear end is, and the yellow line is kind of safety line. The orange line is kind of safety line on the back. Also the backup camera. So if you put it in the backup camera lights up. The resolution is kind of low. My wife's Ford Mustang have a higher resolution backup camera, which I think implements a lot better than this one, but it does have a like kind of linked steering wheel backup indicator, which is kind of nice. So I turn it off. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the car and just go to the back seat and take a quick look. So the back area is very large, very large. For a regular sized person, I'm 5'7". My driver's seat is in the front, and I go back here. I have so much back room. Like, that's a lot of back room over here. Like, even if I just slack over here, like sitting all the way back, I still have plenty of the room. There's bags over here, which is nice to hold some of the smaller items. Again, the vent is right over here, and in terms of the accessories, it's very simple over here. Is you just have a regular window control right over here, and your doorknob, lock, unlock. Of course, they have the child safety as well. The window on the back doesn't go all the way down. I think a lot of cars like that. It only like closes right over here, like at the bottom, which is kind of weird. But again, I don't have much passengers on the back often, and it's just a small complaint. Very nice to have the handles in both front and back. A lot of cars doesn't have that, which I feel like it's a oversight. So a back view of the front, as you can see, it's very spacious. It's a family sedan, and it's a full-size sedan, so very comfortable. If you're a kind of bigger person, this car should fit you. And over here, if you only have 2 passengers, you have a small cup holder right over here. The seat is not a 60/40. The seat flips down all the way, so that's the only option on this year's model. You have 3 seat belts over here, and your child latch, I think, is also available on the back right over there. So we're done with the rear side, with the rear passenger room. So let's actually go back and take a look at the trunk. So the trunk opens right over here, but I had it locked, so let's manually unlock. The key fob is just like any other Accord of the era. So and here's the trunk. It's a fairly large size trunk, and with a pass-through right over there. So I kind of wish like the 2 sides would be wider, so I can put some more stuff over there, but I think that's where the wheels is. So anyway, to open the pass-through, there's a latch over here. You just press it, but you kind of have to do it with the door open right over here. So I have to hold my hand over here and then press that latch. So let me put my phone down and do that, because you can't do it with one hand. Alright, so now it's back. So the seat all the way back is like that. It doesn't go all the way down. It only goes over there. So it's a little bit higher than the center console area. And this one comes with a nice waterproof what do you call this, like mat on the rear side. So over here you can take a look. This is a pass-through, fairly large, fits a lot of stuff, but I feel like the storage is actually smaller, lesser than the 2004 model, which was my last car, and I drove it for over 10 years. So if you're buying a Accord, the car is definitely gonna last you. But again, consider what I said before. The V6 is really bad at gas mileage, and also it's not that quick. So take my words, don't get the V6 version. Get the 4-cylinder version. You'll be much happier with the gas mileage, and even, I mean, daily driving, there's really not much difference. And the very last thing I want to say is the sound quality, the music, the audio system in this Accord is horrible. The audio quality is really bad. Like I've drove a lot of other cars, and I think a car's audio quality is always the worst. Like this one, even though it have I think 6 speakers, 1 2 3 4, yep, I have 6 speakers. It just, the sound sounds very dull. It doesn't have any bass at all. And it doesn't have the highs doesn't go as high. It's like very muted sound. From what I understand, they actually implemented a noise canceling feature, so to make the cabin quieter by broadcasting the opposite wave sound of the noise from the outside. It does horrible things to the music. So I wish I have a way to turn it off, but there's no way. So when you're driving, yes, it's fairly quiet. It's a very quiet cabin. But as soon as you turn on the music, you realize that music quality is horrible. So if you are concerned about audio quality a lot, try not to get this car, because I think the Accord audio quality is just not the best of the bunch. Try some other cars and compare, and you'll get what I say. Maybe just bring your MP3 player and just play some songs in different cars. You'll get what I say as well. So to wrap up, the reason I'm doing this review after 2 years of owning the Accord is because I am selling the Accord V6, because I'm trading it for a much more energy efficient Honda Clarity. And the reason I'm getting the Clarity is because it's full electric with over 40 miles of EV range. And as I mentioned before, I commute 14 miles every day. And my company have actually dedicated EV chargers at the parking garage. So I can just park over there and charge my car and go home with full battery. And also, my company offers a discount parking rate, as well as, so I'm gonna say goodbye to this Accord. And for the years I've owned it, I think it had great potentials, but I think the gas mileage really puts me off, and the V6 was not as quick as I imagined it to be. The good point is, if you go on highway a lot, if you drive on the highway exclusively for a long time, you can get this car because it's got great gas mileage on the highway. With the Earthstream, it turns off at least 3 cylinders, so it only drives on 3-cylinder on the highway at cruising speed. Saves a lot of gas. At the end, I think I'm just gonna show you guys what's under the hood in the front, and then we're gonna wrap up this video. The nice thing is it's got a hydraulic lift, so very easy to open the front hood. And this is what looks like inside. It's got this big old V6 engine, front mounted, and of course front wheel drive. As I mentioned, the performance is not that great. However, it's being super reliable. I've driven I think the car is right now is past 50k, yes, miles, and no problems at all. Like, everything's working perfectly. It's using 0W20 oil. There's the transmission oil, and of course washer fluid is right over there, and reservoir for the coolant is right over there. Brake fluid right over there. And one thing this car have is electronic steering, so it doesn't have a power steering pump. It's all electronic. So I would say the steering is fine, does not have much of the road feel, but it's very easy to turn, and it's got a little bit of the firmness to the steering. The good thing is there's nothing to break apart for, because power steering, after you drive it for a while, the pump is gonna go bad for sure. So that's another plus side for this Honda Accord V6 EXL version. So I'm gonna wrap up this review, and again, once I get my Honda Clarity, I'm gonna go back and do an updated review comparing the Clarity with this car. in terms of how well the gas mileage is going to be running, and that's what I'm really excited about. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you guys have any questions about the Accord V6 from 2014, feel free to ask me in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you so much and take care.